I hated routines and systems of any kind for years. I actively avoided them at all costs. I thought that having a routine and a system and a schedule was for 9 to 5 jobbers. I didn't need one, not even when I was managing a household. I did it as little as possible. Why? I'm not really sure, but I was super anxious and depressed, and I didn't know that having a system and a routine was the key to helping me feel better. So today we're going to talk to the king of systems and routines and schedules, Jay Rise, because this man is incredible. You give him your crazy life and he will help you organize it into a system and beautiful routine that works for you. So, Jay, first of all, thank you so much for changing my life with all the stuff we're about to talk about, because you're life changing. Even before I ask my questions, I know you're going to help me with this because I have some issues still with the systems and routines. So, Jay, then as usual, let's define what we're talking about. What do we mean by systems and routines?
Great question. All right. Well, I did not look up the definition of system, but for our purposes today, it's just something reliable and predictable where you can put in a certain input and the system will spit out a certain output.
Okay.
Right? There might be a bit of variance or variation, but in general, it's a reliable system. So we have a digestive system. You put something in and you get something out.
That's actually quite true. And for the majority of our...
I'm saying it's a very personal, relatable example of a system.
So while you were saying that, I did look up the definition because you said, I didn't look it up. And just to throw it out there, you can cut this out or whatever if you don't want. It is a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or interconnecting network. So the most boring and bland definition you can think of. It sounds so boring and unexciting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's right. Synergistic things working together to spit out a result.
Yeah. So what you put something in and you get something out. Same thing.
Yeah,
but I liked your definition better.
Yeah. And the thing is, what happens when our digestive system is not correct? Like we're getting out something we don't want to get out, or, all of a sudden our diet has to change and we have to fix our input. Like, Is anyone thrilled about this when the system's out of whack?
No.
What? How do we feel when our system's humming along perfectly?
Ooh, we feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're free to eat just about anything and you can go about your day and your life without any worries about digestive issues, feels pretty good.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And it makes your whole life easy. And everyone else is, I can't eat this and I'm worried about that and I have to take these pills. And you're just like, I don't know, man. My digestion's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So we all have systems, and when they're working well, things are awesome. Life is good. And when our systems are screwed up, it's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so our system's important.
I mean, yeah, they definitely are.
Right. The city has a transport system,
right?
Buses, subways, taxis, yada, 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 roads. When that system is well maintained, well cared for, and everyone knows they can put in something like a transit fare and they can get where they want to go in 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, people are happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden the system's super overcrowded and tracks are broken down and things aren't working and people are rude and like it's way overcrowded and there's way too many people for the system and there's been construction on part of the route and there's a detour. Now, how do people feel with their day-to-day travel?
They're not happy.
Yeah. Would you say that travel system, that transport system is pretty important?
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's really important that we maintain our systems and build systems and navigate systems and spot systems and refine our systems and evolve our systems. Maybe our transport system needs a little refinement and a little evolution. Maybe our digestive system needs some maintenance and some care.
Yeah. Well, you are already answered my next question. My next question was like, why do they matter? And so you just they're vital. They're super vital. But I don't really think people are teaching anything about systems until you're like desperate, because that's how it was for me. Like, it wasn't until I was desperate that I found systems. You introduced me to a very boring and bland book that was amazing, and it's called Work the System by, thank you, Sam Carpenter. It's like a super boring book, but man, it's really good. And I know people are like, what? But really, really, like, hear me out, because this is a topic that I thought was so, like, didn't matter. And once I started reading about how this man started forming a system for his business, and now not just his business turnaround, his life turnaround, he changed like a whole bunch of the world opened up for this man because he made a system and then wrote it all down and shared it with other people. This is the gist of the book. And once I did the same thing, like, things went way, way smoother for me.
Yeah. You remember a few years ago when you used to do outreach without a system? You would just do whatever?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. How'd your outreach go? How'd your leads go? How'd your business go?
It went really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. I'd have a couple good days and then a lot more bad days.
Yeah. And then what about when you had a system for outreach?
Super smooth. We started getting sales and getting calls and, getting people on discovery calls and stuff. And things went just way smoother, easier. And my mental health improved big time.
Yeah. And what if someone came along and made your outreach system better?
All that would have improved even more.
Yeah. What if they made it better today?
It'd be even better, and I would feel even better. And I feel really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Improving our systems is a huge win.
Agreed.
And developing a system for something that doesn't have one is also a huge win.
Yeah. So for a long time, I thought, like, I'll just do this on the fly. This is easy. I can
wing it.
I can wing it, right?
Everyone thinks they can wing it.
Okay.
You know
so
why?
Can you explain? Well, I want to know why, but can you also explain, like, why this is not a great thing?
Sure. Most people wing it because they think that having a system will harm their freedom. If you talk to anyone who's avoiding systems, they might give you this excuse or that excuse. Oh, it's boring, yada, yada, yada. But deep down, they're just afraid it's going to restrict or limit their freedom.
100%.
Yeah. And people are really sensitive about their freedom, as they should be.
Yes.
So I get it. It's totally reasonable, but also completely unreasonable, because nature is based on systems. You wouldn't be born without systems. Reproductive systems brought you into life, and digestive systems kept you alive, and ecosystems are providing the resources for you to continue living all around and for your whole tribe and your whole city. And the solar system keeps us in place. And trying to avoid systems because it might limit your freedom is kind of dumb.
Agreed.
But I get it, but dumb. But I get it, but dumb.
But dumb.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you just totally hit the nail on the head, because for me, that's exactly what the problem was. Like, why should I have a schedule or a routine that's going to keep me from doing other things I want to do? Especially I'm thinking of a particular time in my life before you and I met, where I had children in the house. I was homeschooling. We were doing a lot of dance things, a lot of drama things. And so, like, the need for a schedule was it was vital so everything could go smooth. And I resisted and resisted even then. And things were always hectic and rushed. And I was anxious and nervous because I didn't know what was happening. All I had to do was sit down and just make some sort of system for things to go smooth for us.
Yep.
Back then. And I know a lot of moms in general are really good about making schedules and routines for their kids. It wasn't until recently, though, that I realized how important they are for mental health and for just life in general. Like, all that stuff you said, all those systems, it only makes sense. Like, if everything else around us, our bodies, the way the world works has a system. Even Netflix has a system of how they show you things and take away things and whatever. And so if we're afraid of freedom, because that's what I was afraid that all these things, like having my stuff written down and organized, was going to take away from me, but it really would have given me so much more freedom.
Yep. Think about the most creative, free people you know, like some famous musician or a famous director or artist or author or something.
Right.
They seem to live so free. They're off partying, they're living life, they're drinking to excess, they're doing whatever they want. They're just so free, right?
Yes.
They have the freedom to create whatever they want and do whatever they want and yada, yada, yada. But every single one of those people built their life on systems, and they didn't succeed until they had systems. They had to have systems for practice and systems for rehearsal and systems for organizing their teams and getting people together and collaborating and systems for calling people back and returning on time and keeping things prompt and systems for, how much to indulge. And then they have systems for hangovers the next day, and they have systems for rehab, and they have systems for trainers and personal fitness. And like all those people you admire for their freewheeling creativity are freaking systems gods and systems gurus. And the only reason they ever got that awesome life was because of systems, because of their respect for systems and their focus on systems and their ability to develop systems and refine systems and make efficient systems and improve and evolve their systems. And what you see outside has a million systems behind it, behind the scenes, inside. And if you want to be like them and live like them, you better copy those internal systems.
Agreed. After we met, I thought a lot of that stuff was mostly about business. Like just the business side of my life has to be systemized. Just my outreach, just my tracking.
Good luck.
But that's not true. Everything that we do requires a system. The way we brush our teeth, the way we wash our face, the way we prepare our meals, all of that, you will find yourself getting, even if you don't write it down, you find yourself following a system. When I cook, I make sure I take out all the things I need, or I try to take everything out that I need at once. If I know I'm cutting things, cutting board knives, blah, 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 like all the things, that's my system. When I do my hair, I make sure I have my brush and water and hairspray and blah, blah, blah with me in the bathroom before. Like these are systems. And people want to brush off these like mundane things because it's not a system, but it's actually more helpful for all of us to have it because how we do the small is how we do the big.
Yep. It's a great point. And to that effect, if you want to succeed in beauty, can you do it without beauty systems?
No.
Okay. If you want to succeed in relationships, can you do it without relationship systems?
Nope.
If you want to succeed in business, can you do it without business systems?
Nope.
So if you point me to an area where someone doesn't have any systems or very many systems, or their systems are subpar, what is basically guaranteed?
Failure.
Yeah.
And so to use the beauty as an example, I have wanted for a while to improve my looks and lose weight and improve my skin and my makeup and just my overall appearance. But I wasn't spending any time on my skin. I wasn't like exfoliating. I wasn't really, I was washing with like water or soap, like hand soap, like so bad for your skin. And I had all these resources at my fingertips on Reddit and the internet and videos and stuff you've given me that would easily help me form some sort of system to take care of my skin. And so I started doing it recently, and I had to sit down and write out all the silly little steps that I didn't think about. Like I share a bathroom with somebody and we have a community towel, but I'm not drawing my face on that, And so I make sure I have my towel and my things, and everything is systematized, but I had to like kind of go over the top with it. I went the opposite of like how I used to be with like bare minimum systems. This time I went ridiculous and wrote all these things. But as I practiced, I was able to scratch out the ones that were unnecessary and that were just like kind of does. But anyway, the point is that if I want to succeed with having better skin, then I need a system. And in the 2 weeks that I've been doing it, my skin has improved. I've been consistent. I showed up for myself. So on top of like my skin improving, like I feel really good and proud of myself that I have been consistent and showed myself love and stuck to my system.
Yeah, absolutely. Systems are related to habits, and habits are related to systems. And I think most people know that habits create our day-to-day life. If we change our habits, then we change our day-to-day life. So just having a system can often develop your habits for you. Or if you develop a habit of something, you'll end up creating a system. So it's good that you improve your habits and your system. And everyone has a different level. I'm not saying everyone has to become a systems guru who has every little thing in their life systemized.
Right.
But if you show me someone who's struggling, chances are they need to improve their systems.
Agreed.
In some amount.
I agreed. I know a young lady who has a job, and her one part of her job is to like worry about her appearance and take care of the beauty stuff, but there is no system for organization of how the beauty supplies are. And so every time she needs to use the supplies, it's a little kind of hectic.
You can't find something, and something's missing, and something got mixed up with another thing, and something has a different cap, and now it's got stale or dried up or whatever because it didn't have a lid on it. It's like, where is the system? This would never happen in a pro beauty salon. This would never happen in a supermodel's home. This would never happen with someone who cared a lot about beauty and turned it into a system. And the thing is, every time we have a little bit of friction or frustration, it's a chance to refine your system.
Oh,
when I see the city transit and I see how long it takes the disabled or wheelchair bound or handicapped or whatever the word is these days, people to get on to board, I can instantly see all of traffic. The whole artery of the city slows down while this person takes like an hour to board a streetcar or a trolley or a bus. It's like, who designed this? Is this the best we can do? Is this the best system we have for boarding these people? These people are wonderful parts of society, and it's great that we're doing something to include them and help them get around. Fantastic. But this is honestly the best we could come up with. Pause traffic for 12 hours while someone boards? What the hell? Like, everyone else is just walking on in 2 seconds.
Well, for context, because not everybody will know, but in Toronto, the streetcars, the driver has to get off, stop the streetcar, get off the streetcar, walk around, use a key, wait for this slow ramp to come up for the person to get on the thing and then close it and walk around. Like, it is ridiculous. So every time we're on the transit and we see this, I'm always like, God, I know you could make something better. They need to ask you.
Yeah, and I don't judge, and it's fine, and it's progress. It's better than not including them and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, can you see the frustration or the friction, and can you spot a chance to refine the system? And they're going to say, well, it's not in the budget and yada, yada, yada. We don't have time or money or energy, or we already commissioned all these trolleys and buses and stuff. And it's like, that sounds reasonable, but how much money, how many billions did the city lose in wasted man hours as everyone gets stuck in the commute, 2 lanes of traffic, all day long, over and over, every single time someone boards this thing? So do you really not have enough money to refine the system? Or are you actually gaining wealth when you refine the system, right? Even the government, even these people who know about systems don't even realize, like, they can't even see in front of their eyes the money on the table waiting for them if they would bother refining the systems.
Yep, exactly. And here's just a side thing that I bet not anyone who planned any of that thought of. The way the person who has to wait for the guy to come around and stop all the traffic and everyone's staring at how they feel as a disabled or in a wheelchair, differently abled, thank you, differently abled person already feels different, and now everyone's staring at them and like, and so this is not a very nice thing. And so having systems for better systems and having somebody to teach them better systems would be ideal.
Yeah. So my point is, in our lives, oftentimes life will serve up to us a moment of friction or a moment of frustration, and we'll just wave it off or dismiss it or laugh it away or complain about it or whine about it to a friend and move on. And it's like, that was a gift from life. Life was trying to help you. It was trying to help you smarten up, wise up, become aware, see what's going on, and improve your system so it does not happen again. And so then you can have a great life. And people are like, wow, how come you're never late? How come you're always on time? How come things go so smoothly for you? And you're like, because I was frustrated and I fixed my system. Like, now it never happens. Now it never happens anymore. Jay, how come you have your shit together? How come life seems so good for you? It's because I've went through all the crap you went through, but instead of like whining about it or complaining, I sat down, I put my projects on hold, and I fixed my freaking system so it doesn't happen again.
Yes. And every time that we have some sort of friction and we tweak the system, things just are so much better. You've taught me how to see the positive even before we started this episode, because I dropped the ball on 2 things and you're like, yeah, but how is that a positive thing? And one of the things is to fix the system that I have for preparing for our podcast. So it's super helpful.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I wasn't always like that. I made asking what is the positive or how is that helpful or what is good about the situation into part of my system. This question that I ask is part of a communication system that I now use, that I never used before.
Mm-hmm.
When I didn't use it, life was miserable, and I'd join you in misery, and I'd start complaining, and oh, this sucks, and yeah, like life's hard, yada, yada, yada. That was my old system. My new system is when someone brings an issue to me and they're beating themselves up about it, I'm like, well, what's the positive there? Can we find the silver lining? Is there any good takeaways?
Mm-hmm.
My system
There always are.
got tweaked, and now my life goes better and communication goes better.
Agreed. And because you tweak your system, it helps me to tweak my own, and our relationship improves over this tiny little tweak to a system, a question, and this is how it can work for everything. And for those of you who may be thinking, I'm a slave to a system, dude, the system is what you decided for it to be. So this is a weird thing I had too, right? Was like, someone's going to tell me what to do. Oh my God. They can't tell me what to do. I'm not listening. I don't want no one to tell me what to do. But I was making the system. I was creating the routine. It was supposed to serve me and benefit me. So why would I ever feel like someone was telling me what to do? So it was weird. And I felt that for a long time.
Yeah, it's a great point. A lot of people are empowered to create a system, and then they create systems that suck and systems that hurt them.
Yes.
It's like, what? And they're doing it because they should do it, or they should copy someone else's system, or yada, yada, yada. And it's like, when I do the dishes, I put the water on scalding, and I let the heat do a lot of the work. So it loosens a lot of the food.
Yep.
And I've made my hands strong enough, like, to the heat, that it doesn't really bother them if I wash the dishes in scalding water.
No.
And I use vinegar and detergent, like alternating them for different tasks or whatever. And I have a certain way that I stack the dishes because I find it to be more efficient and less likely for them to tumble, and so on and so forth. And so I put all this thought into my dishes system that works for me. Now, this wouldn't work for some other people. Some other people would get mad at me from the environmental damage of using so much hot water, or that they couldn't do it themselves because their hands are not up to that task, or they don't want to melt their nails off, their acrylic nails or something, or they don't like thinking about the efficiency of stacking the dishes. They just want to drop it and go. And it's like, I don't care. Those are all your things. Develop your system. I'm not making you do my system. Yes. You could have a system where you wash them in mild water, lukewarm, and you have gloves to protect yourself. And you have an air dryer. You invested in an air dryer in your home, and you can just put them in a tub and let them air dry. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. No one is stopping you from creating a system that works for you. And I hope no one's judging you for it. And if they are, you should probably reconsider that relationship because you're here on earth to live a good life according to your desires and your whims and the way you want to live and the way you want to navigate life and fulfill yourself and fulfill your dreams. And that's not going to happen with other people's systems, or you being bullied to copy other people's systems, or you forcing yourself to use things that you should, or all this kind of thing. So when I say improve your systems and systemize parts of your life that you want to succeed in, I'm assuming you're going to create systems that serve you and fulfill you, not dumbass systems that hurt you and harm you. I don't know. I can't believe this needs to be said.
Well, so the reason I brought it up is because I am a part of some Reddit groups where they put goals every month, right? Because it's beauty stuff and we're improving and weight loss and blah, blah, blah. So I noticed that some of the newer girls who haven't had a lot of time setting goals, they will get in there, right? And then they'll write these huge lists of all these amazing things they want to accomplish, but they give themselves 4 weeks to do it. They have no practice when it comes to practicing improving their looks, researching, trying new things, or maybe they don't have the money for some of the things, and they'll write these ridiculous lists, and then at the end of the month feel horrible because they weren't able to fulfill this list, right? And so if they had a better system and realized that, girl, you are new to this, you have barely any practice, you have a full-time job, you have kids, you don't have time for this giant list. But if you perfect your system, you can improve this. And so that's the reason why I mentioned it, because I know that these poor girls have no one to say, sweetheart, that's great, I love your list, but let's make it work for you and your lifestyle. And there are girls that come in there and say that. They're like, honey. But yeah, so they inspired that. And you would think, you don't need to tell people that, but like I needed, I needed to hear it in the beginning because I was like, of course, it's so exciting. Like all these things I want to do in my business. Like I definitely have shiny object syndrome, as soon as something's pretty and shiny, I'm like, oh, ooh. And so I had to learn the hard way that having focus and discipline and clarity on one thing can lead to all the beautiful, shiny things, but one step at a time. And so I tended to make these over complicated systems that didn't work for me. And then I would be mad at the system instead of myself.
Yeah, you can have a delicious meal and have a clean kitchen, but usually not at the same time. And usually not if you're hopping back and forth between them and getting distracted and, oh, that's a dish I should wash. Oh, that's a food I should eat. Oh, someone's talking to me. Like you kind of have to commit today, right now, it's mealtime and I'm going to prepare the food. Maybe I'll clean as I go a little bit if I can, but the food needs my full attention. And when I'm done with the food making system and the meal eating system, then I will do the dishwashing system and kitchen cleaning system. And as long as I commit in these phases of life, these appropriate times, I can actually enjoy a life full of everything I want. And if I try to deviate from this at all, life's going to suck. I'm going to be screwed. The food's going to burn, or the food's going to be underdone, or maybe the food turns out okay, but none of the dishes got cleaned, or like I got distracted and the meal got cold because I did it out of order and I decided to wash the dishes before I ate, even though it's sitting there on the table. Like you have to follow the systems and give them proper focus and commitment to execute them well to get the result. It's input and output. If you input correct things with correct focus and correct discipline, correct commitment, you will get a correct result that fulfills you. If you put in anything else, you get bullshit.
Facts. Absolute facts.
So if your life is full of bullshit, I bet you're inputting crap into your systems, or you don't have systems, or you're misusing your systems, or you haven't improved your systems, right?
Or you've never even thought about systems.
Right. If you have a bullshit life and I were to come down and examine how you get out of bed, examine how you eat, examine your time, examine your calendar, examine how you communicate, examine how you treat people, examine how you run business, examine how you seek a promotion, like whatever your systems are supposed to be doing for you, I guarantee you I'm going to see crap input, crap systems, or both.
Yeah. And crap output too, because that's how it goes.
Right. But if I go examine the world's heroes, the legends, the people you look up to and you want to be like, and the people whose lives you want, if I examine their systems, I'm going to see poetry in every area. Beautifully refined systems that work for them.
Yeah.
So
100%.
That's it, man. That's it. You tell me. Like, I don't know how you want to proceed in life, right? Your old way of winging it and having no systems and bullshit in gives bullshit out, or do you want to live like your heroes with beautiful systems that work for you with focus in and focus out?
Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm tired of BS. I'm tired of not having the things I want. And so for me, that's worth creating an amazing system and following it and being consistent and improving it and tweaking it as I need. And so for me, the side effect of all the systems in my life was something that was completely unexpected, and this was my anxiety, right? And so I had so much anxiety, and even though I was having panic attacks, I felt a lot of pressure and anxious within myself, like, I didn't know what to do. And as soon as I started implementing my systems and being consistent with them, like, my mental health improved. All the areas, the anxiety especially went away. So is there something deeper to this, like science or something behind? Because no one has ever said to me over the years, hey, if you develop a routine and a system, your anxiety is going to clear up. It's not even in my article, to be honest with you. My anxiety article, I'll link it in the description so you guys can see. I did a ton of stuff to improve my anxiety. And this was one that I didn't learn till later, and it's not even in my article. So I will have to fix that.
Yeah. So would you say there's a link between anxiety and stability?
Yes.
So when life is stable, your home is stable, your income is stable, your relationship is stable, is anxiety often present?
There's no anxiety when you're stable and you're feeling good about your life and yourself.
Right. So what makes things in life more stable? Being systemless or having systems and routines?
Definitely. Now I know having systems and routines.
Yeah, and you could just look around. Like, just find anybody. Find me an example of anyone that you look up to that is not anxious, that has a stable life, and you will see it's founded on systems and routines. And then go find like some free-spirited hippie who avoids the system and does whatever they want, and they're just like carefree, wild child people. And I'll show you someone with anxiety. They're like anxious all the time.
Yeah.
I've met both, many of both, and the ones without systems always have more anxiety.
Well, it makes sense.
Now, if you have systems that don't serve you or don't work for you, then maybe you have anxiety. But that's not really like, oh, systems made me anxious. That's more like bad, terrible systems that don't serve me made me anxious.
Well, actually, I think that is a really more of a common thing than people realize, because people start to develop like routines and stuff without thought, to it. And as a former people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser, I did a lot of things and set up routines and systems in my life to please and help other people. And I would grumble through the whole thing. I do, but I still did it because I was dumb.
Yeah. I mean, if you turn your systems into a burden or an obligation, I mean, that's on you.
Yeah.
You can't really blame systems in general for that. Oh, this system's full. I'm never having a system again. It's like, what?
No. Yeah.
I was homeless for nearly 3 years. And the only way I was able to make that life work was by coming up with systems for myself. Systems to find food, systems to find shelter, systems to make do, systems to...
In yourself.
Yeah, to self-groom and take care of myself. And it's like, I'm either going to be anxious as hell every single day, hour after hour, as I like desperately worry about these things, or I'm going to create systems that make do. This park is reliable. This bench is reliable. This one has too many security guards. This one has too much traffic. This one is my best system. This one is my best spot. Like, even if you're a homeless, nomadic, free spirit, I'm telling you, the anxiety will lessen when you get your routines and systems, ones that serve you.
Agreed. And I just want to be super clear for anyone listening. It's not about having a system for your anxiety. It's having a system for the things in your life that feel out of control.
Yeah, like nutrition and hygiene and income and resources and shelter and relationships.
Yes.
And family. Like, if you have systems in place for all those things, guess what happens to anxiety?
It goes
bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really, really does.
I'm not saying it's always a 100% cure for anxiety, because anxiety is an internal thing, and there are people with stability and systems who still feel anxious. But I'm just saying, in like 90% of the cases, if you get systems in place for all of those important life areas, that anxiety is disappearing.
One of the things I'm struggling with here in Florida is this very thing, right? So I have my systems in place. I have my routines and my systems for everything I do from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. But other people around me do not, right? And so I struggle with this. And the other day, you were messaging me and you asked my opinion for something. Whenever you do, I always stop if I can, like, if I'm talking to somebody or whatever, I don't. And I love giving feedback, and so I'm in the middle of doing that. And then like at the same time, I had messages coming in from someone else, like some emergency, and then my mom coming in and like all these extra weird things that happened all in a space of time. And I ended up like sobbing that I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. And it wasn't the things that I needed to do, because I know how it works. It was the out of control feeling of the other people, not you, the other people didn't care about my system, didn't care that I said I was going to do something, didn't care that I needed to be done at a particular time. They like bulldozer over any of my systems. And so I have set boundaries a few times, and it's gone better, but this has caused me anxiety. And I really started to realize how much I value and need and love all of my systems, every single one of them.
Yeah. So we can address that here and now if you want.
Right. Yes.
So I also had similar issues many years ago. People were screwing with my systems and how I wanted to live my life, and were respecting my boundaries. Mm-hmm. So you won't like what I did, but I did solve it.
Okay.
You know what I did?
I'm sure I know, but I'd love to hear it.
I walked out and said I'd rather be homeless. And I did it more than once with more than one person.
Yeah.
Because I care so much about my life and my boundaries that if someone's not going to respect them, I will leave no matter how bad it is outside. I mean, a volcano could be pouring lava down there. I'd probably walk out into it.
I know.
Just to make a point about boundaries. And it sounds like ridiculous and martyrdom and so on, but
it's not. But
yeah, so maybe I wouldn't. It's a little extreme, but you get the point. I'm willing to go quite far to make a point about my boundaries and to claim my space and to live my life on my own terms. Now, this solution isn't viable for most people. They're just not up for it. They didn't come to Earth to be homeless. They don't want to be homeless. They're so against it, they'd rather die. So fine. I'd rather live free on my own terms than die the death of my soul as I let people disrespect my boundaries. But most people would rather let their boundaries die and stay sheltered.
Yeah.
I don't judge that, but that's how it is.
Sure. I'm among them. Yes.
All good. That's fine. So the thing is, if you're not willing to walk away into the shelterless blue yonder to set your boundaries and live life on your own terms and have your own systems that nobody's happy with, what is the only other option? So you're in an environment where people aren't respecting your boundaries and systems, and you tried and it's still not happening. And you refuse to go this route and go shelterless. So you need a new
system.
No, your systems aren't working in this current place.
Yeah.
You need a new
place.
Yes, a new environment. So a new shelter. If you refuse to be shelterless and your current shelter sucks and it's disrespecting your boundaries, then you need a new
shelter.
Right. So this is where a lot of people are. They're like, I hate my life where it is. People don't respect my boundaries. I refuse to be homeless. And so then their only other option is to find a new shelter ASAP.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what do we need to find a new shelter? If we live in a big city,
money.
Yeah. Or resources of some kind, or friends in high places, or someone who's going to support you, or something.
Yeah.
A job, a business, clients, resources. You need resources to get that new shelter. Basically, you need FU money, right? FU money. And so anytime I see someone who is trying to systemize their life and trying to get their shit together and trying to do good things, and then people are disrespecting their boundaries and throwing wrenches in plans, I'm like, well, if it was me, I'd just walk away. Just go be homeless again. I'm out.
I know you would.
But since you won't do that, then you need to get FU money as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right. This is the only option. There's no discussion of it. You need to find friends or resources fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So oftentimes when I say this, people start to get really agitated and then anxious and crunchy because now they feel like they're in a rock and a hard place because they have a bad relationship with money and resources, and they don't have a system to acquire resources. And so now they're like, oh no, I only have one option. I have to get healthy money or find a friend to stay at or some way to walk away from these disrespectful people. But I also suck at getting money, or I suck at getting resources, and it's too hard, and I can't. And so now, in their heart and their mind, they're thinking, I'm resigned to hell. I guess I'm stuck in hell. There's no way out of this.
Yeah, it's pretty much how it feels. Yeah.
Right. But for me, I don't feel that because I've been homeless and I've run businesses and I know resources come to me and I know how to tap into them. And I know there's like a world full of resources just waiting to be gained, and there's cash flowing everywhere. And there's more investors and people with money than they know what to do with. And they're just looking to give it to somebody. Like, they're all around, and people love consuming. People love buying. People love paying other people. People love creating jobs. Like, human beings just love flowing money and resources. So I'm never really worried about it. But if I'm talking to someone who has a bad relationship with money and doesn't understand value and wealth and doesn't understand wealth creation, they will feel that they're in a catch-22 where until they're free of these disrespectful people, they'll never get their life together and they'll never make money. But they need to earn enough or have enough resources to safely walk away from these people, to set boundaries. And so it's like a catch-22. Like, what do I do? Do I get the money first, or do I like straighten these people out first? Like, what do I can't, there's no way I can't get one without the other. This is how people feel.
Yeah.
So then I'm trapped.
Right.
But if you watch all of our other videos on wealth and value and the business recipe and all these kind of things, it will enlighten you and you'll have a healthier view on money. Or you can go to jrise.cash and learn about it, like learn all the ins and outs of money and resources. And then you won't feel this way. But ultimately, it all comes down to inner work first. Like, there are tons of people in the world who have gotten out of worse situations. You can read their biographies, you can study them, you can watch their interviews. There's people who are in way worse positions in like third world nations, developing nations with abusive things, and like way, way, way worse than you think. I know yours feels the worst. I know it feels super bad to us personally, but if you open your mind and your perspective, there's always someone worse. And probably a lot if you live in the West.
Yes,
So
that's true.
So So how did these people get out of their catch-22? Like, they were in a shit situation and they didn't have value money. And like, how did they get out? Is it really a catch-22? Like, this is a trick our mind and our ego plays on us. Like, oh, what was me? There's no way out.
No, I already know. I'm like ahead of the game. So I know that I can manifest around anything. Circumstances don't matter. Like, as long as my energy is the only thing that counts.
Yes. So a lot of this energy is like the most basic survival energy. It's the most basic stability energy, and it's in your root chakra or in your genitals. Like, it's way deep down in your gut. That's where we feel it when our boundaries are stepped on and we can't get out and we can't change our environment and we can't make money and we feel trapped and we feel like a catch-22. It's down there. It's not like, oh, I feel trapped. I guess, intellectually this is tough. It's like some deep pit down there.
Yes.
That's where the energy is. And if it stays there and it stays untouched and it stays unchanged, your situation will stay untouched and stay unchanged.
Facts.
And even if you change it a little bit, then your situation will only change a little bit. So if you really want to get out of this catch-22 and gain resources and get the value money, you need to believe in yourself, believe in your manifestations, believe in your abilities, believe that other people have gotten out of worse and you can get out of worse. Put your heart and your soul into it with a whole heart and a loving heart. Anytime you feel those emotions come up, you got to shift that energy and dance it out or meditate or swim it out or laugh it out or journal it out or whatever you got to do. You got to take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. And you got to keep them aligned on abundance and on wealth and on resources, on value and on serving the world and helping others and getting cash flow to you. Because when you flow value from inside you out to others, it will come back to you, but only as much as you do it and only with the same vibe that you do it. If you flow value inconsistently or once in a while or
with a crappy attitude
or with a bad attitude, then you will get tiny bits of money that don't stick around and you can barely hold on to because the money's attitude matches yours.
Yeah, it's true.
So if I was in your situation, my number one focus beyond anything would be to turn up my value, create a system for my value and a system for getting my value out to the world and a system for improving my value and refining my value and getting it to reach more people and express it to more people and offer it more and be more generous with it and let it flow more and be more abundant with it. And every human being has value. And anyone who's complaining about the situation almost certainly is contributing that value poorly.
Well, the awesome part is that I was a junkie who almost died, right? So I know that God has something meant for me. Like, I could have died actually twice and it didn't. And so that means that there's something out there for me. I completely believe and know. And I also know that, not to be like, say this with a grain of salt, y'all, please understand how I mean it. I'm better than everyone here, as in I know how to improve my life and improve myself. I have an education that no one else around me in this home currently has.
Sure.
So I know how to lift myself up and improve myself and regardless of my circumstances.
I love
with systems.
Sure. Well, let's just take an example.
Sure.
Okay. So let's say your value is you have a super valuable product.
Yeah, I have an amazing product.
Okay. But let's say only one person's seeing it a week or 10 or something.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're a baker and you have this amazing pie or muffin, and you're handing them out on your doorstep.
Yeah.
Okay. And 10 people stop and take them. If you want to gain more resources and be more valuable and get out of your catch-22, if you want to systemize your value and improve your system for distributing value, do you want to hand out 9 next week, 11 next week, or 20 next week?
I hand out 100 next week.
There you go. Or 200 or something. So as much as you can without being unrealistic.
Yes.
And so then it becomes a challenge to yourself, like to your creative mind.
Okay.
How do I get this product into more people's hands? Should I give it away more? Should I give it away with a bigger sign? Should I knock door to door and just get off my front step? What should I do? What is the creative way to get this product? Should I get a billboard? I can't afford a billboard. Should I vandalize a billboard? Should I just spray paint one? Like, you have to be creative, just the same way you would if the dishes were too hot. If the dishwater was too hot, you would get gloves.
Yeah, a creative system to help improve. Yeah.
Or you're late to dance recital every time, so you leave half an hour early. Like, no one's telling you what to do. You could get a faster car or move close to the dance studio, but you choose to leave half an hour early. Fine, I don't care. But if you have value and it's not reaching enough people in the right ways, often enough or fast enough or impactfully enough or noticeably enough, if there's some friction or some frustration, you've got to fix your value system, your value distribution system. Even if you're in a job and you just want a promotion to get enough to move out, it's like when you go to work, how are you delivering your value? Are you going through the motions? Are you doing what you're paid to do and what everybody else does? Or have you creatively uplifted the company? Have you uplifted the company so much that you can practically demand a raise and everyone around you on the team is nominating you for a raise? Have you already been turned down for a raise 3 times? And it's time to move to a more respectful job? Like, what is the solution? You have to be creative. It's your responsibility to get your value out to the world. No one else's. You weren't given gifts and value to sit like a lump on a log and wait for someone to come along and lift you up like a coal and start turning you into a diamond and then make sure the diamond gets into other people's hands. Like, that's not how it works. They're busy living their own life. They got to do their own thing and put it their own value. Yeah. So how are you going to get your valuable product to more people's hands? How are you going to get them to try it? How are you going to get them to savor it, taste it? Like, are you stingy with it? Are you hesitant to give it away? Would you let people try it? Are you worried about running out? Are you like, what's your mindset on it? Are you going to do it from your front step, or are you going to go door to door and actually like get in people's homes? Or are you going to hire someone to go door to door? Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many avenues. There's more avenues than ever in our modern world to get value out to other human beings. I've been giving value to my landlord since I arrived, and he gives me discounts on rent. He gives me tons of free food. He gives me lends me stuff and buys me items and gifts. Just incredible. But when I first moved in, that didn't happen. It wasn't like the first day or the first week. I had to give a lot of value over and over before it started to click. Yeah. And so that's what worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I think you have a system of providing value.
I do. And it could probably be improved too. If I want more wealth or resources, then I should improve how I deliver my value. And people don't like to admit that. They want whatever I'm doing now to be enough. But that's not how the world works. It's about evolution. It's about refining your systems. The way the streetcar is now, the way the bus is now with the boarding of the differently abled, it's not really enough. Like, they want it to be enough. Yeah. We already did all this work and we got this thing working, and now they can board at least. Yeah, great. We're all proud, but that's not how the world works. It doesn't stop there. You have to evolve. You got to refine your systems, or the traffic will be slow forever. Sure. You have to fix it. You have to evolve. And you cannot use the same thing you've done previously. You can't do it the same way you've always done it.
No, because then you just keep getting what you've always had.
Yeah. And so I'm always looking to evolve my system. Even now, I'm doing things I've never done before with teams I've never done before and people I've never done before. And I'm going to have to evolve even further. Like, who knows? And only by doing that can I get matching resources. And sometimes the value is just about your attitude, like, or your meditation practice, or how much you relax, or how receptive you are. It could be anything. There's so many things in life. I can't tell you what it is for you, but I can tell you that if you refine your system for delivering value, you're gonna manifest and be compensated and rewarded by the universe with a ton more resources. And like, do you want the resources for yourself so I can feel better because I don't like this? I don't like this and I want more resources for me. Or do you want resources because when I'm in a better place with screw you money, I'll be calm and able to serve others better and be able to help even more people, and I'll be able to reach more people and touch more people, and I'll be able to be a better example and show that my boundaries are set and I can extend compassion to the other people who are disrespecting me. Like, I'm going to be serving many other people with this new home or this new money or this new resources, right? The attitude of resources because I don't like this, and the attitude of resources because this will enable me to truly shine and truly help others. My preferences be damned, honestly. That attitude is much different, right? It's a much different attitude towards money and income and resources. And so now anything you receive will match that attitude. But you can't fake it, and you can't have it once in a while. It has to be in you. You got to embody it. You got to live it. You got to have it be part of your system.
Yeah. That was super helpful and very clear and made sense. And you're right. I need to reevaluate my system for distribution of my value. I'm not really sure.
We could talk about it now. So, like, the first step is writing out the steps, just like you did with your beauty system. You wrote down all the little steps you took to get the result. Mm-hmm. And people don't like to do this, but it's systems 101. You write out all the steps of something, and now you're staring your system in the face. You're staring your current system in the face, even if it's crap, right? If your system is wake up, have a random mood, do whatever I feel like, that's your current system. Mm-hmm. Like, some people have that system.
Yeah, that's a terrible, bad system.
It is. So that you might start with wake up, meditate, or dance to make sure I'm in a good mood, then do whatever I feel like. Tiny tweak, but it's an improved system and it's going to get improved results, input and output.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to be a famous author or a famous musician or a famous speaker or something, then maybe you wake up, meditate, and get to work. Like practice. You're putting your pages, putting your practice drawings or whatever for half an hour or an hour. Or maybe you don't like a set time and you just start and then go till it feels right. I don't know, like whatever system you want, but you got to write down the steps of your current system because it will give you clarity and a starting point on what to improve and where. If you refuse to write down the steps of your current system, you're going to struggle.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, you could do it mentally if you're very mentally sharp. I often don't have to write down my steps, but I might as well. Like it's the same thing, right? I could dictate them, I could recite them, I could write them. I'm mentally sharp enough to know all the steps in and out. But if it's something that I'm weak at or that needs more improvement, then I'm clearly not sharp enough yet, and so I better write them out. So even me, you're going to need to write them out at some point.
That's true. Yeah. Writing it out is really helpful to see what you're doing and how you can improve what you've been doing. Like I said earlier, I wrote a whole bunch of extra steps for myself to make sure that I didn't let anything slip through the cracks, but it wasn't necessary. Yeah. The opposite is true too.
And if you think about how you got your product into someone's hands, let's say you got your product into Jesse's hands or Zena's hands or Julie's hands or Alex's hands, you have to like write out the steps of how you got that product into their hands. And if you want to get your product into more people's hands, you're going to have to use some of those steps or tweak some of those steps or refine some of those steps or springboard off some of those steps or something.
Fair play. Yeah.
Well, so, we can do it right now. Like get a pen, get a paper or speak them out loud and we'll watch the replay. Like what are the steps how did you get your product into Zena's hands or Jesse's hands or Julie's hands or Alex's hands?
So the first step was I had to decide who I was targeting.
Yes.
Then after who I was targeting, I had to make a list of people so that I knew who to send things to. And then after that, I wrote a pitch and we tweaked it a bunch and we went back and forth and edited it until it was something that was short enough that it fit in the DM, but also long enough to explain what I was trying to say.
Sure, but were those all the steps?
Yeah, you said a whole bunch of different names.
But you focused on the one that doesn't serve you, the one you don't like.
Yeah.
You didn't focus on the steps that felt easiest.
None of it feels easy.
Well, Alex was effortless. You were like happy and laughing.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. So for Alex, all I did was post on social media and engage with your posts and the people who commented on your posts. And then he reached out to us. Oh no, he didn't even reach out to us. He joined the den and we were like, what is happening? Who is this? And I found him on Peak D and we had a conversation and then, so that's what happened with that.
Sure. But it sounds like you got some of my impressive writings in front of somebody somehow.
Yes, you were posting awesome things over there.
Right.
And so I was engaging with people doing commenting and stuff. And that's how he found you through me.
Sure. So like if you wrote out the steps, like step 1 would be get valuable things in front of somebody's eyes.
Right.
Like how many eyes did I have to get in front of before Alex came on board? Was it just like I did it once and then Alex was here?
No, you wrote a few articles and
a few.
Yeah. Okay. I say a few articles and it makes it sound like you wrote like a page article. You were writing giant tutorials about a topic that you didn't know anything about, cryptocurrency. And you were learning and writing these incredible marketing. You wrote a whole bunch of articles on and posts on how to market Peak D and get more people, doing your regular branding amazingness. And I was pushing it to other people.
Yeah. And that was a pretty tightly knit community.
Yes.
Where it was easy to stand out as long as I talked about
branding them.
Well, as long as I talked about Hive and crypto and the community.
Yes. Yeah. They loved it. As soon as you talked about something else, they weren't interested.
Right. So are you seeing how you can refine the steps of value and value distribution and how you can mimic or mirror the thing you did with Alex? How did we get Jessie? Was it cold DMs?
No, it was engagement on her posts.
Yeah. And not only that, I was putting out fire content on what? A topic that she
was interested in.
Yeah, Instagram captions.
Yes. You talked about Instagram captions and yes, and writing for bimbos to help them because they have a hard time with their captions and what to say to people.
Yeah. And so what does she want to hire me for?
To help her with captions and what to say to people.
Right. But only after
lots of touch points.
Right. Can you see the current steps that you did to get your product in people's hands with Alex and Jesse?
Yes.
Yeah. So what were the steps? If you had to write them down, get a pen and paper.
I use my phone, so I don't have to go out there. The first step was have amazing content.
Yes. Do you have that?
Yep.
But the content had to be on the topic of
awesome content on the topic that they are interested in.
Right. So if you want to get Rebecca, then what do I have to write about?
How to stop her husband from cheating on her.
Right, exactly. And if I want to get Ciara, what did I have to do to get her?
Show her what a divine masculine looks like. I think it was like branding and LOA. Oh, because you were talking about spiritual people.
So you see how it works. Like you see how you can get your product in front of anybody's hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's step one is have content for whoever you're trying to reach.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone on the planet who has more content than me?
Nope.
So are you starved for this step? Is this step a problem?
Well, no, the only problem in that step is figuring out what I want to post and when. That's not really a problem. I'm joking because we have so much.
Right. So then what's the next step?
Post it, share it.
Yeah.
So then the next step is, to share more.
Yeah. Is it complicated or is that going to bring more Alexes and Jessies and Ciaras?
No, that'll bring more people.
Yeah.
Well, our podcast speaks for itself.
Like, I know.
Every episode is fire.
I know. Anyways, the point is, you've done it with tons of businesses. You worked with Alex, you worked with Jesse Bunny, worked with Ciara, worked with Zena. We didn't cold out DM Zena. She found us. So, like, if you write down the current steps and you know that they're not working or they're not up to par or it's not getting you enough resources, that's where your starting point is. Now you know where to tweak your system and like what you're looking at and what you're dealing with. And you can ask yourself, well, how could I do this better? Or how could I do this more? What's holding me back? Or because otherwise, you're just going to stay in that same environment or same home with the same catch-22 and wonder why you're not getting more resources and why you can't earn enough money. And it's like, because you were put on earth with gifts and blessings and you're here to use them, not judge them or sit on them or hide them or worry that they're not good enough or whatever it is. You're here to provide value. And if you do improve your value delivery system with a good heart, a whole heart, and not this like whiny negative attitude, you will be compensated and rewarded with resources. Friends will help you. People will support you. Gifts will be showered to you. Money will come to you. Food will come to you. And you will be able to move out and do whatever. So can you see how writing out the steps of your current system of value delivery can enable you and empower you to refine that system and improve that system so you can provide more value and gain more resources and get the fuck you money you need?
Yes.
And can you see how that gets you out of the catch-22? If you tap into the correct energy.
Yes.
And execute this in a committed, focused, disciplined way and understand that this is the most important system you can tweak.
So I just want to be clear that I understand what you're saying, right? If I write out the steps of the current system, I can see...
Even if it's shit.
Yeah, like, doesn't matter. The current system as it is, the way it is today. And then I can see clearly in front of me where things need to be tweaked within the crap system, right?
Yeah. Or you can make a whole new system.
Right.
Like by springboarding off that system, like one that's completely different than that system. But that system is the starting point. Even if that system is, I wake up in a random mood and do whatever I feel like. It's like, okay, well now we have a starting point. Let's refine that or make something totally new. But in life, you can never get any growth or evolution until you accept what is. And so if you want a new system, you have to accept the current system. And most people are just like, oh, I don't have a current system. It's like, oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, I think that's annoying part is that like looking at the current system and feeling bad about it. Well, it feels bad that I get interrupted 50,000 times a day.
Sure.
I feel bad that I don't come in and lock myself in the room because then other people will feel bad, and so if I look at that system, then it makes me feel bad because I allow those things.
But then you allow your boundaries to be crossed.
Yeah.
But you could go to Panera. You could go to a library. Yeah. You could put a lock on your door. You could sleep in the day and work all night. Like there are so many creative things a person can do to improve their value delivery system. And everyone you look up to J-Lo, Beyonce, Oprah, Bezos, Musk, I don't care whoever you look up to, they did the same thing. They had weird situations and environments and circumstances and people pissing them off and whatever, and they came up with creative solutions. There are tons of people in developing nations, like I said, who have way more abusive environments, and they found a way out. They found a way to set their boundaries, a way to make things happen. They got creative, they fixed their system, and they started providing value to the world, value that mattered, value in a big way, with a full heart, in service to others, because they cared about their life and the world and their gifts, and they knew they had to make it happen, and they knew no one was coming to save them, and they did that, and they got out, and their life was good. And yours can be too, if you follow in their footsteps.
Great. And this is not the first time I've been stuck in this house where I felt like I couldn't leave and I felt like I needed to change things. Like, this is not my first rodeo here, you know?
Right.
Well, I love systems and I'm super grateful for your time today and helping me with them and talking more about them. They are game changers. And I have a system on this podcast where I show people our book, Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. This is our book full of amazing and wonderful perspectives, ideas, and systems too. It's the world's first self-help coffee table book, and we are giving away free PDF copies. So go to eyeswideopenfree.com and get yours today. And when you do that, you'll be signing up to our newsletter as well, where we send 3 amazing emails every single week and a reminder of this great podcast.
Yeah, I used a system to write it.
You did. And I used a system to share it. So, Jay, this was a very emotional episode, even if those watching didn't see the emotional part.
I cut them out.
And I never would have thought that an episode on systems would make me cry, but here we are. And it's okay because systems really matter and they're important. And if you want to improve your mental health, dude, you better take a look at your systems and what's going on in your life, in all the areas of your life. Write them down, improve them, please, because panic attacks and anxiety is the worst crap in the world. And I don't want any of you to feel that bad. So, Jay, thank you so much for giving me another tool in my toolbox to help me improve my mental health, improve my anxiety, and to help all of our wonderful audience also improve their mental health and anxiety. And I will be adding this to my anxiety article, not just the tip, but this actual podcast. So thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our amazing audience?
Systemize your life and win.
Short and sweet. I love it. Thank you so much. And now, after today, you know how to systemize your life and to improve your mental health, your business, and be happy. So now you can go watch this video here called I Have No Idea, because I did not do my proper research ahead of time. But the video that I'm going to put here, I promise you, goes with this one because it will help you to systemize your life, improve your life, and it will help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.